So this was posted on the Singularity subreddit yesterday, it looks like, and it's some tweets from the CEO of Exa saying some interesting food for thought here. And I thought we could have a look at his tweets and then see what people are saying, really. And it's this Exa. You can see that he's the CEO, Will Bryk. I hadn't actually heard of this company before, but you can check it out if you want. Anyway, let's get into the actual tweets. I'm not really sure what this is about. This is all new to me. So I spoke to / heard from a few senior AI labs people this weekend, and I now feel even more confident in these predictions from a month ago. Not sure what the context is yet. Hearing these same ideas come out of their mouths was quite strange, and how real it became. There's a sequence of future events that, if you think about from first principles, seems inevitable. Okay? We really do now have a test time compute paradigm that is a straight shot to AGI, no matter how you define AGI. Okay? So the bottleneck is gathering good data for RL, and then all the little product details like improving speed, integrations into our workflows. Okay? So just assume that by the end of 2025, so we're looking at 12 months from now, well, sort of mid-January, so 11 and a half months. At the minimum, we'll have a multi-modal agentic PhD AIs doing complex tasks for you on your computer at 0.1 mini speeds. I highly recommend people update their worldviews and company plans to assume this. This is not hype. Agentic PhD AIs. Okay, so we're going to have AIs doing doctorates? Is that what you're saying? Or agentic intelligence of a PhD? I don't know, candidates? So we really do now have a test time compute paradigm that is a straight shot. Oh, okay, this continues. We've read that bit. The world will still feel similar because it will take long for Bank of America and the government of France and everyone to integrate AGI, and there will be compute shortage. We actually just saw that the USA is spending 500 billion on infrastructure for compute, I think, data servers, but the AGI will exist nonetheless. Robotics will also take a bit longer, and timelines are a bit less clear there, but I also talked to people who are doing robotics, and seems we're only talking a couple of years later for fully functional humanoid robots. I believe there's a major gap in our information ecosystem about these topics. There are a couple of thousand researchers and engineers thrusting us into the next era of humanity at the breakneck speed, but they're not allowed to talk about it because of NDAs. I mean, I imagine there is some smart people under NDAs. So this is the most important story of the century, far more important than COVID, yet there is far less media and discussion about it, besides hype tweets from AI influencers and coy tweets from AI researchers. This is true, but this sort of feels like a bit of a hype tweet, ironically. But that's because there are very few people who, A, understand how these systems work. I would agree with that. Are able to suppress the sounds too crazy part of their brain. Are able to suppress the go full hype part of their brain. Are in San Francisco, so they hear things from the ground. Ground beyond Twitter, the news. So actually care about helping the world and not just trying to sell you something. Recognize the gravity of the situation and treat it as such, or are reasonably competent at converting thoughts into words. So as far as media and discussion about it, yeah. I believe I am one of these people, as a person who's been running an AI company that trains real models, but one that is not an AI lab, so I can say whatever I want, and someone who enjoys writing about things that are helpful. I believe I can bring an important perspective to this quiet... Where are we? I've lost it. Quiet but immensely important conversation. I feel a duty to write more on X and plan to do so. You have my word that I will always strive to be as correct as possible. I will not write things with hype, although I won't be scared of being provocative. I also highly encourage anyone else out there who passes the criteria above to write more, create more, The world is desperately more media about the world that is coming. We need realistic AI short stories, new films beyond Terminator, mocked video demos of what future systems will look like. We all need visceral examples to shake us out of apathy so that we don't just predict the AGI but feel it. That way we can prepare accordingly. And here it looks like someone, like ready to get something done. So that's what some food for thought there was all that was about. I kind of want to see what people say. I don't really know what to take away from that, except for, AGI is coming. AI is going to improve in the next year, which, I think is sort of feels guaranteed at the moment. So after the release from DeepSeek yesterday, I have no idea how anyone is still surprised by this. They literally scaled to near benchmark saturation solely with RL fine-tuning. I have actually made an account on DeepSeek. I've not actually tested that out yet. Reading a tweet in phone format on a PC is miserable. Here's a link to the tweet. Well, it's too late, but I don't disagree. It's also miserable on phone. The fact that the topic of AI makes most people confused is an early indication of how disruptive it will be when we reach an exponential technological inflection point towards ASI, which is artificial superintelligence. The very fact that they can't decide whether it's just hype or not is already disruptive. I think that's actually a fairly fair comment. Yeah. Aren't we already on an exponential inflection point? I think so. Let's see. My thoughts exactly. I think that's why some of us think we're at escape velocity. Then when we get used to it and become complacent, the trial of disillusionment rears its ugly head and another breakthrough and potentially a hype cycle has arrived. Yeah, probably it's just another hype cycle. It will settle somewhere below. This is the communication breakdown part of it. People are broken into different groups. Undeniable. First are the clueless. These are people who go through life with blinders on. Could have been narcissistic, could be ignorance, could be so overwhelmed that they don't have the energy to consider the future. Yeah, I think those are all fair points. Next are the deniers. They understand the enormity of it, but choose to deal with it by dismissing it or calling it hype. This is a common response to overwhelming events. I do also think in most cases this is just like experience, right? I think at most things we've had to now, things don't really live up to the hype. It could be different this time. So next are the people who choose not to think about it. I think this is most people. Some people will have heard about it and just don't care. Don't want to think. They don't care. They understand this is something but feel powerless to do anything about it, ignore it and hope it goes away or works out. And to be honest, I don't think this is a terrible attitude. Next are the curious. I think that's us. That's us. These are the people who have no background to understand it beyond what they see here on YouTube, constantly trying to catch up and comprehend. The pace of innovation can overwhelm them and lead to draw conclusions to help it make sense. Okay, maybe we're somewhere between these. Let's see. Finally, are the people who get it and see it. These people have tried to explain to others, but run into wars. I think I'll finish reading this, and then I want to give a thought on that. So these people have tried to explain to others, but run into wars or blank stares and worried about being called a kook or a hype artist. They shrug, and many have given up trying to explain to people, because whether or not people understand, this is happening. Even the most informed of these people can't say if it's good or bad, however. So the things people care about no need to come out vague, because we really don't know what happens when... The problem is I feel like some people explaining this stuff will come off as conspiracy theorists, depending on how they articulate what it is they're saying. There's one thing, like, if you go around trying to spread panic and saying everyone's going to lose their jobs, I just don't think that's very helpful and people aren't going to listen to you. I also think, like, the best thing to do is actually use as many of these AI tools as you can. And then that's probably the best way to... Like, I know very much right now if I use ChatGPT to just create a game in Pygame, it's still pretty terrible at it. It's good at doing, like, an initial thing, but it very quickly breaks. So it's not like, well, I do think we're going to make tremendous progress, and I can see most jobs needing a lot less people. It's like, yeah, you don't want to go around explaining to others that everyone's going to lose their jobs. I don't think that's useful. I'm not saying that's what they're saying. We are not ready. I feel this. As a historian, I wondered what people felt like in the spring of 1914. Hopefully that hell doesn't await us, but being on the brink of an event that most people can't grasp the enormity of yet we hurtle inexorably toward is apt. It's not a word I use very often. I think I pronounced that right. Hopefully I didn't butcher it. The event changed the world beyond what people could comprehend at the time. Yeah, it does feel, this will be, the AI revolution, like a proper AI revolution, will be bigger than the Industrial Revolution, no doubt, I would say. Pro is cooking. It takes more than intelligence to create useful agents. Yes. It is great that these models will get smarter and cheaper, but unless their output, whether clicks or plans or information, is 99.99% reliable, we'll spend a lot of time watching them and checking their work for mistakes. They will not be useful. Yeah, and actually I just made a YouTube video, a couple of YouTube videos ago. I used ChatGPT in part, but I didn't actually trust any of the things, so I went and verified every single point it made. So yeah. But once there's like trust... But again, I feel like this is beside the point. It just means that, yeah, it would be slightly slower. And I don't think everyone's going to lose their job next year, I do think we're at a stage now where people are like sort of maybe seeing how good it is. So maybe like there is less people hiring just because they're sort of like, let's see how this goes. Let's see what happens with this. This is like self-driving cars. We were supposed to have self-driving cars by now, by the way. When did Elon say we're going to have self-driving cars? Cars have been able to drive themselves pretty well for years, but that last 1% is what prevents them from being ubiquitous. I think that's very true, and that's a fair point. All the sort of the last 1%, and maybe it's more than the last 1%, but it's so incredibly difficult that they're not ubiquitous. It's probably more than 1% though. If you go driving around Europe, there's lots of small roads and lots of inconsistent roads and stuff like that, or off-track roads and stuff. Like, sure, it's easy enough to have self-driving cars on like a highway in America, but the same doesn't necessarily apply to lesser known roads where the models aren't good enough yet. Yeah, and the other thing is, of course, it's real-time reaction as well. What else are people saying? This is like, I want to go to the base comments mostly. That's still a response. A lot of responses there. Okay. Play clips phase TTRPG, folks. Seriously, it's world building spent a lot of time thinking about post AGI society, the good and the bad part. I mean, I've never heard of that. Sounds like it's a game. Where can you where do you buy it? Don't know, I have to take a look. We got distracted. What's a good place to read up on the gist of this without spending a dozen hours? Or can you give a 3-paragraph summary? We can probably get one from ChatGPT. I hope that will have an AI that is smart enough to crop screenshots properly. Yeah, the overlapping cropping did get me a couple of times. Very confusing. Very well articulated, and pretty much what I've believed ever since they hired Noam Brown. I will quickly lead to AGI, and we'll have a competent AGI in our hands by the end of 2025. Well, competent AGI is actually not even PhD, so this guy is even more bullish on AGI than I am. Levels of AGI. I have not seen this. Maybe we make this a separate video. So, levels of AGI. Level 0, no AI. Narrow, non-AI. Calculator software, compiler, etc. General. Human in the loop computing, e.g. Amazon Mechanical Turk. I'm not sure what that is. Level 1, emerging, equal to somehow better than an unskilled human. Simple rule-based systems, okay. Emergent AGI, ChatGPT, 2023 OpenAI, Bard, Llama 2. Okay, so level 2, competent, at least 50th percentile of skilled adults. Competent toxicity detectors, such as Jigsaw, smart speakers such as Siri, Alexa, or Google Assistant, VQA systems such as... I don't know where this definition is from, by the way, so I'll just have to take the word for it. And then competent AGI not yet achieved, and that goes for all of the remaining ones. So now we're just onto narrow ones. So level 3 expert, at least 90th percentile of skilled adults. Spelling and grammar checkers, such as Grammarly. Yeah, that's fair enough. Generative image models, such as Imagine. Or DALI 2. It's interesting for me to put generative AI in there for like images. I don't know what they mean by that. 90th percentile skilled adults, and then you've got a generative image model such as Imagine. Like, what's the baseline there? What is it saying? I don't quite understand it. Virtuoso, at least 99th percentile of skilled adults. Deep Blue, AlphaGo. Okay. Superhuman narrow AI, AlphaFold, AlphaZero, Stockfish. Not heard of Stockfish. Stockfish AI. Oh, it's chess engine. Fair enough. Please, for the love that is all humanity, please do not let the government control this technology. You're too late. I think Terminator is still fine. Yeah, they're cute. Maybe AI can fix San Francisco while it's there. He is stepping in to fill the hype vacuum left by OpenAI this week. It did feel a bit hypey, you know. Despite claiming it wasn't. But, you know, I feel like if you're in that space and you're talking to people in that space, there's going to be a lot of excitement. I think so. It just is what it is. The key thing, though, is what I want to say is use the tools. You'll see how good AI is by using the tools. There's so many tools out there. Use them. Tell me if they're good. I will do the same. Like, if they're really good, people will use them. This is why O1 to me is an AGI. Not a human level of general intelligence, but general intelligence nonetheless. I want to see sometimes... Yeah, I wonder if that... You know, sometimes it doesn't show the votes, but it doesn't always mean they've got down votes. I don't know, at least. Maybe it's a weird thing. My prediction, the AGI ASI will replace all possible white-collar work immediately. No. What do you mean, all possible white-collar work immediately? I mean... Possible? I guess that's, No, I disagree with that. But it's sort of like all work that can be replaced by AI will get replaced by AI, of course. At some point, you would think. I don't know. Yeah, I just don't understand. I don't agree with that statement. I've lost it now. We're finished. I've ruined it. The AI will tell the government leaders to direct all possible resources to building robotics. I mean, no. Could you imagine an AI telling Trump to build more robots? Can you write on blue sky instead? Why? That seems sort of beside the point. I weep for the day when our singularity comes to grips with what this means. What do you mean? Let's follow this thread. It means you are going to die. We're all going to die eventually. Yeah, this is true. But yes, this will entirely replace humanity at some point. Won't we, by singularity definition, not be able to come to grips? Need more data, except there is none. They've already scraped the entire internet. And now the internet is being bombarded with tons of AI-created word salads. This is actually quite an interesting point. Data's not a war. I'll come back to this. Data's not a war. All the newest models are created using highly curated synthetic data. O3 is bootstrapping using synthetic data from O1. O4 will probably be created using synthetic data from O3. Okay, I didn't... It makes sense. I didn't realize that it was already synthetic. I do like this, yeah. Okay, we're using synthetic data and getting great results. By the way, I mean, you probably gathered this already. I'm not an expert or anything in AI. I'm just interested. I'm just a programmer. Tries to use some tools when I can be bothered to. I guess we may as well read this since this is the last comment, although I think it's a response. They are now letting the models learn, compare, connect, and think deeply. I don't know about think deeply. I don't know if I agree with think deeply about various topics from that internet scale training data. Instead of just force feeding them all of it without letting them think and try to build some understanding, kids start like this, just consume a lot of data about their surroundings. This is true, and it is being mostly automatically optimized in their brains. Clean. Much more interconnected and high potential neural network. Oh, sorry, that was in their brains. That should have had an apostrophe. In their brains, clean. Much more interconnected and high potential neural network. Then they, to various degrees, learn to compare things that they see, read, yeah, blah, blah, blah. I think, yeah, at the moment, also, I think, yeah, it would be interesting if we can get AIs to do research. I think that would be really, really cool. Just like, yeah. I hadn't heard of Exa. Maybe he's just talking about this stuff to get some hype for his company. Products. AI-powered custom data pools for knowledge workers. Search and crawling over the web for AI. Anyway, I guess that's it for today. Let me know your thoughts, as always, on this food for thought. I feel like you didn't give me too much to think about, but it was a bit of a fun read. Yep, leave a like. Thanks for watching.